dealing with D's on the knowledge. Now, unless you are incredibly lucky, you're going to get a D on the knowledge at some point. It's just the way it goes. Some people have done the knowledge without getting Ds, whether it's through luck of the draw, whether they are God's given gift. It just happens. Or some people do get through it without Ds. But I would, factor in that you're going to get some Ds on the knowledge. So when they do come, it's not going to hit you as too much of a surprise. I was, on my 56s, I was rolling through. I was 3-0 56s. I was like, yep, I will blitz through. I'll be on to 28s. Off we go. And I looked at it as well, like if I got 4 Cs on the trot on 56s, that's 2 months between each appearance. That's 8 months. So when I got my first D, it hit me quite hard because that was another 2 months added to the process. So that maybe 10 months to get through that stage. So I saw it as, wow, 2 months. Wow, it's just gone like that. And yeah, it did suck at first. But the great thing with that D, what I then got was that I realised if I'm not that confident, because I got that D from doing an illegal. Bearing in mind, okay, I didn't really know it was an illegal manoeuvre, so I done it, and then I found out the hard way afterwards. And the great lesson that I've learned from that actually is that was one area that I assumed was correct. So if I thought that this was actually leaving the Lambeth Hospital down near Clapham, and that was to go south, and basically I left on Landor Road and just done a straight left onto Clapham High Street, which, if you've gone pointed that, there's a nice central reservation there, so I would have crashed into those bollards effectively, and that caused me a 0 on that run, and I think I got a total score of 23. So had I not done that illegal, I would have scored. But it was good I got the D, because that made me realise, well, hold on a minute, that's something I've taken as gospel, and I've I knew I wasn't right when I called it, actually. That's a point, actually. When I was calling it, I thought, something doesn't feel quite right here. I know I've got to do something. I can't just do a straight left here. But my brain skipped that process, and I'd done it, and I got the D. On a future appearance, I had a similar case. I had to go, it was with one examiner, I had to go from Embankment Gardens to Radnor Walk. So this is around Chelsea, SW3, without using Royal Hospital Road. I believe was the road that I couldn't use on that particular run. This was on 28s. Having learned from my previous encounter 56s that, if you're not quite confident, or if something doesn't quite feel right, don't call it, go around it. I did that in this particular circumstance. So I knew that the best answer would have been to go up Tite Street. You go up Tite Street, Tebworth Square, but then I couldn't work out how to call my way around Tebworth Square. So I didn't want to lose points for hesitation. I didn't want to lose points for not calling the road correctly or getting it completely wrong, and that would have been illegal, and that would have killed the appearance. So I went a little bit around, but I eventually got the examiner there. I went up Lower Sloane Street, Cutting Turks Row, Franklin's Row, and St Leonard's and all that malarkey there. So it avoided Royal Hospital Road, so it satisfied the question. And it was very good I'd done that, because I think the overall score I got for that appearance was about 26. So had I gone through Tite Street, hesitated, called an illegal, that would have been the end of the appearance. I'm pretty much certain of it. So that would have added another D to my collection. So Ds are good because they help you sort of reinforce what not to do on future appearances. The other thing as well is that everyone gets Ds. Just accept it, and accept that's part of the learning process. Also, you get a little feedback form at the end of your appearance, and that tells you exactly where you went wrong. Was it an illegal? Was it a street name not called correctly? Was it dropping points? Use this as a good feedback tool for yourself, and listen to what the examiner has to say. Sometimes they don't really say a great deal, but have a listen, have a check. If you drop too many points, look at what kind of points you dropped. If they're really obscure stuff, try not to get too beaten up about it. Because you could go out there and, I had, when I finished the knowledge, about 9,000 points. My call-over partner had about 15,000 points. And we'd both still go into an appearance, or you'd see on a sheet, cool, what's that point there? You're not going to know them all. A new point could come out and see you later, you're not going to know it. So don't get too beaten up about it if it's really obscure. Have a word with your call-over partners. Say, have you heard of this point? I got asked this. And if they're like, well, actually, yeah, I have seen that come up a few times. Maybe you could work on your pointing a bit more. This is something you always work on, the knowledge anyway. So that's a good one. If you're going slightly wide, that's an indication that you need to go more map work. If it happens on a lot of appearances, you get marked down a little bit for going wide. More map work. Straighten your lines out a bit. Do some football runs and, hospital to hospital runs, anything like that that kind of give you an idea of getting across the map big to work out your lines a little bit better. What's everyone's hesitation? I think that's probably one of the biggest ones I think a lot of people can improve on is confidence. Like I'm doing now, I'm obviously delivering this video and I do stutter a bit, I put in the odd and ah, but I believe the reason I got through relatively unscathed on the knowledge, I only had a couple of Ds throughout the whole time, was that I delivered with confidence. I think the second, even if you know it so well, you know those streets, you know those roads, you've driven on them for years and years and years, and you've done the maps, you've been calling over partner for years. If you can't get those words out of your head, if you can't deliver it to the examiner, you're going to fail. If it's there, no one can see inside your brain, but if it's there, you can see it, but they can't see it. The whole idea of the knowledge is for you to convey your knowledge to the examiner. So the better you can do that, you need to enunciate and pronounce all the street names, road names properly. There's another guy on YouTube, Martin. He says the importance of this. Even when you're out pointing, when you're at home, say them out loud. The way that your mouth actually shapes those words is really helpful in how that comes across. Because it's a training exercise. The more regularly you call over and dodgy street names, and some street names are hard to pronounce, so the more you call them, the more fluent you are, like a language, the more fluent your mouth is producing those words, and that'll probably be my biggest tip going forward to help minimize your chances of a D. As for dealing with them, they just come. Deal with it, pick yourself back up. Your past performance is not an indicator of your future performance. So if you have 3 Ds on the trot, the examiner wants to see an improvement. So if you go in there and you are you've got a lot more energy about you, you've got a lot more confidence about you, they will see that. It goes on file. They're not out to D you intentionally. Remember that as well. They're out to make you the best cab driver possible. So a D isn't, go home, we don't want you. A D is, oh, you're close, come back. At the end of the day, if you're on appearances, if you've scored before, you've had it in you to score. Examiners don't just score people for the sake of scoring people. They're there to uphold the standard. So if you've scored before, come back, show them, prove to them that what you are made of, and you can score again. Believe me. And that is how I would deal with getting Ds on the knowledge.